Assembly Member Georgeou.
Good morning, gentlemen. I hope both yourselves and your families are doing well. Mr Mayor, last week a Survation poll found that 57% of women do not feel safe on the streets of London and 47% have been followed by a man at least once. Given this, do you recognise why many women, particularly women travelling alone, would want their car easily available to enable them to drive to their nearest tube station closest to their home?
It's a source of huge disappointment to me that women and girls don't just feel scared, but aren't just scared, but often suffer violence at the hands of men. And that's why it's really important to have a public transport system for which I'm responsible that understands those concerns that women have, but also to make sure that the criminal justice system meets the needs of women by bringing in new laws like upskirting, big issue raised by many women and others. And of course I understand why some people may choose to drive rather than use public transport.
Well, I'm glad you understand it, but I think you've taken the crime angle as opposed to the question that I actually asked, which is, do you understand why women, in particular women, given the abuse that they face on London streets, feel safer driving to a train station and getting onto the underground or overground rather than walking?
Well, that's one of the reasons why we've spent some time over the last period trying to improve the public realm, to make sure when it comes to designing streets, designing street lighting, thinking about where the bushes go and so forth, that from home to wherever somebody's going, it's safe. And I say that conscious that this weekend we had the 3rd anniversary of the murder of Zara Alina. And so it's really important to understand the challenges women and girls face across the country. And so when it comes to public realm issues, we'll work with all those third parties to make sure they're as safe as they can be. That's one of the reasons why Senator Cooper, when she raised the issue of the task force and the audits, what TIFA are doing proactively is working with women and girls to get their experiences so we can respond to that.
Well, their experiences are, Mr Mayor, that women in particular feel safer going to work, coming home at night, knowing that their car is there waiting for them in a station car park. Mr Mayor, do you understand why policies which make it increasingly difficult to drive to and from stations are particularly damaging for pregnant women, disabled people and elderly people?
Well, it's for those reasons that we always try and ensure we have, and we do, equality impact assessments, because what an equality impact assessment does is it means that we can look at the impact of our policies to ensure that they are not just abiding by equality legislations, but addressing issues that we may not have thought about. That's why it's important that we do those.
Mr Mayor, you can do all the equality impact statements you want, but if you have removed safe and relatively cheap parking for women, pregnant women, disabled people, the elderly, commuters, local shoppers, do you not therefore see that any impact statement you do is not worth the paper that it's written on? Because I've read some of them. I read them for Arnos Grove and I read them for Cockfosters when you decided to get rid of those car parks. And lo and behold, they say pregnant women are some of the most least well off with these changes in the parking regime than anybody else. So what's the point?
So it's taken us some time to get to the nub of the question, which is the issue of choosing.
Well, because you don't care.
Will you please answer the question?
Which is the issue of choosing whether to have, affordable housing that Londoners can afford to live in, or to have car parks. And given the choice of, car park spaces or housing, bearing in mind this is the biggest crisis facing our city. Bearing in mind, many Londoners have been priced out of our city. Bearing in mind those couples that want to have children are deciding to leave London. Bearing in mind many Londoners are travelling an hour and a half each way from home to work. I choose affordable housing that Londoners need over surplus car park spaces.
No, what you're saying is, you are saying you don't care about the needs of women that feel vulnerable and use these car parks. You're not saying you don't care about pregnant women. You're saying that you don't care about the elderly. You're saying that you don't care about the disabled and those that need these station car parks to get to work. Let's leave the housing to one side for a moment. Do you care that these people feel vulnerable or are less able to access our wonderful city because you are getting rid of our station car parks?
Well, only a Conservative would say, let's leave housing. and put it to one side. I refuse, Chair, to put housing to one side.
That's not what I said, and you know it.
And let it.
It's not what I said. I said let's leave that issue to one side. I'm talking about vulnerability. And why are you acting as if you hate this group of people? Why?
Do you want to answer?
Well, Chair, I will not put housing to one side. I will not neglect housing like has been done by previous governments and the previous mayor. I'm passionate about making sure there's the housing that Londoners need, which is why I welcome the record settlement from the government this week to London to build the social housing we need. 60% of the allocation of money. We've got significant sums confirmed from the government, record sums will go towards social housing, and some will be on surplus car parks. I don't apologise for that.
Well, those car parks aren't surplus to the elderly, pregnant women, women that feel vulnerable at night, disabled and those with accessibility issues. Absolutely disgraceful, Mr Mayor. I'll leave it there, Chair. Thank you.
And as that fiery exchange came to an end, the tension in the chamber said everything words could not. Because beneath all the political back and forth, the reports, the equality assessments, and the policy jargon lies a very real question about safety, vulnerability, and dignity. When a woman chooses to drive rather than walk, it's not always convenience, sometimes it's survival. When an elderly person or a pregnant woman finds comfort knowing their car is close by, it's not about luxury, it's about independence. Yet the clash in that room revealed a deeper divide between the promise of affordable housing and the reality of personal security. Between what the city needs and what its people feel. For some, a car park is just tarmac and paint lines. For others, it's the difference between fear and freedom. So as London pushes forward with its vision of progress and housing, perhaps the real question is this. In a city racing toward the future, who's making sure no one feels left behind in the dark? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more in-depth political commentary, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the world of power and politics. Thanks for watching.